When someone offers you a hug, it's not just an act, it's a message. It's a moment where a person steps forward, crosses a space that's often filled with barriers, fear, pride, hesitation, and says, "Here I am." A hug isn't just arms wrapping around you, it's trust unfolding in real time. It's someone showing up with their full heart and choosing connection over distance. Vulnerability is often misunderstood in our culture. We're taught to see as a weakness, something to hide or avoid. Yet if you look closely, vulnerability is not just a feeling. It's a profound act of courage. It's the willingness to show up and be seen when there are no guarantees of the outcome. When we embrace vulnerability, we create the foundation for genuine connection and true authenticity in our relationships and lives. Think about it. Every meaningful connection we've ever experienced has required vulnerability. It's the moment you told a friend about a fear that's been weighing you down. It's the time you admitted you didn't have all the answers, or when you let someone see your joy, pain, or hope. Vulnerability is the point where the mask comes off and the real person steps forward, saying, "This is who I am." Now, let's consider how this plays into connection. Authentic connection doesn't happen in the polished, curated spaces of life. It happens in the messy, unfiltered, and real moments. It's built when two people risk being themselves, sharing their truth, and embracing the possibility that they might not be fully understood or even accepted. This isn't easy. It's uncomfortable and often scary, but it's also transformative. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we give others permission to do the same. That mutual exchange creates a bond that's both meaningful and enduring. Authenticity, on the other hand, is born from this willingness to be vulnerable. It's not about perfection or always having it together. It's about being honest about where you are, what you feel, and what you need. Authenticity requires us to drop the pretense and stop pretending we're invulnerable. When we live authentically, we align with our true selves and allow others to see us for who we really are. This opens the door to deeper, more meaningful relationships because people are connecting with the real you, not the version you think you're supposed to be. The paradox is that while vulnerability feels like the riskiest thing we can do, it's also the most powerful. It allows us to build trust, which is the cornerstone of every healthy relationship. Vulnerability creates an emotional intimacy that transcends superficial interactions. It's the invisible thread that weaves empathy, compassion, and love into the fabric of our connections. Of course, vulnerability isn't always comfortable. It requires us to step into the unknown and face the possibility of rejection, criticism, or failure. But avoiding it comes at an even greater cost: loneliness, disconnection, and the loss of our true selves. To embrace vulnerability is to acknowledge our humanity. It's a declaration that while we might be imperfect, we are worthy of love and belonging. So if you're searching for deeper connections or a more authentic life, start with vulnerability. Dare to be seen, to speak your truth, and to show up wholeheartedly. Because vulnerability isn't just the birthplace of connection and authenticity, it's the foundation of a life well lived. Human interactions are layered, rich with subtext and unspoken emotions. A smile, a handshake, or even a simple nod can convey far more than words ever could. Among these gestures, genuine actions, those that come from the heart, stand out because they are often imbued with deeper meanings that we may not immediately recognize. These moments carry a resonance that, when acknowledged, can reveal the depth of human connection and intention. Let's take a simple example, a hug. On the surface, it might seem like an everyday gesture, a polite greeting, a way to comfort someone, or a casual display of affection. But when you pause and look closer, a hug can carry layers of unspoken messages. It can say, "I see you, I'm here for you," or "You are not alone." Genuine actions like this transcend the physical act. They embody emotions, thoughts, and intentions that words often fail to capture. The beauty of such actions lies in their authenticity. When someone acts with genuine intent, they are expressing themselves without pretense. There's no calculation, no performance, just an honest offering of who they are and what they feel. This is why we often feel so moved by seemingly small gestures. The friend who checks in when they know you're struggling, the stranger who offers a smile during a hard day, or the loved one who holds your hand in silence when words aren't enough. These acts are simple but profound, reminding us of the kindness and care that bind us as humans. However, the deeper meanings of genuine actions aren't always obvious. It requires attentiveness to fully appreciate them. In our fast-paced, often distracted lives, we can miss these subtle moments of connection. We may take them for granted or dismiss them as insignificant. Yet, when we slow down and pay attention, we begin to see the richness of meaning behind these actions. A simple compliment might be someone's way of expressing gratitude for your presence in their life. A quiet gesture of support could be a profound expression of love. The deeper we look, the more we understand the emotional landscape that underpins these moments. Recognizing the depth in genuine actions also invites us to reflect on our own behavior. Are we acting with authenticity? Are we offering gestures of kindness and connection without expecting anything in return? Genuine actions are a form of emotional generosity. They create ripples, inspiring others to do the same. And they have the power to transform relationships, workplaces, and communities. When we learn to value and reciprocate these actions, we create a culture of deeper connection and understanding. We begin to see the humanity in one another, recognizing that behind every gesture there is a story, a feeling, and a truth. Genuine actions remind us that even in the complexity of life, the simplest things can carry the most profound meanings. So, the next time someone offers a kind word, a helping hand, or even a silent moment of presence, pause. Look beyond the surface. Acknowledge the deeper meaning that lies within. Because in those moments, we are reminded of what it means to truly connect and to live with intention. Trust is one of the most powerful and fragile elements in human relationships. It's the bridge that connects people, allowing them to share their thoughts, emotions, and vulnerabilities without fear of judgment or betrayal. But trust doesn't come easily. It requires courage, openness, and a willingness to step beyond the protective walls we build to shield ourselves from hurt. Embracing moments of trust is a transformative act, one that can dissolve the barriers of fear and open us to deeper, more meaningful connections. Fear and trust are opposing forces. Fear tells us to stay guarded, to hold back, and to protect ourselves from potential harm. It whispers warnings about rejection, betrayal, and disappointment. Trust, on the other hand, invites us to take a leap of faith. It asks us to believe in others, to give them the benefit of the doubt, and to show up authentically even when the outcome is uncertain. It's no wonder that choosing trust over fear can feel like a daunting task. But when we embrace trust, something remarkable happens. Those walls of fear, built brick by brick through past experiences of hurt, failure, or rejection, begin to crumble. Trust doesn't demand that we forget those experiences. Instead, it asks us to learn from them while still remaining open to the possibility of connection. It's not about blind faith. It's about making a conscious choice to believe in the goodness of others and to allow ourselves to be vulnerable. Moments of trust often begin with small, seemingly insignificant acts. It could be confiding in a friend about something personal, accepting help from a colleague, or sharing your feelings with a partner. These moments may feel risky, but they're opportunities to nurture connection and dismantle the fear that keeps us isolated. With each act of trust, we create a ripple effect, building stronger relationships and fostering a sense of safety and understanding. The truth is, trust doesn't just benefit relationships, it also transforms us. When we choose to trust, we step into a space of courage and self-assurance. We're saying, I'm willing to take this chance because connection matters more than my fear. This mindset allows us to grow, to heal, and to experience life more fully. It's through trust that we discover the beauty of human connection, the sense of being seen, valued, and supported. Of course, trust isn't without its challenges. It requires discernment and boundaries. Not everyone earns our trust immediately, and that's okay. But even when trust is broken, it can be rebuilt with time, effort, and genuine intention. The key is to remain open to the possibility of trust, even after it's been tested. Embracing trust is a journey, not a destination. It's about making daily choices to connect, to believe in others, and to lean into the uncertainty of relationships. By doing so, we allow trust to dismantle the walls of fear that separate us, creating a life rich with connection, love, and understanding. Because in the end, trust is the foundation upon which all meaningful relationships are built. Human gestures, those small, often nonverbal actions, are the unspoken language of connection. A handshake, a smile, a pat on the back, or even the way someone tilts their head while listening all carry emotional weight. These seemingly simple gestures have the power to convey care, reassurance, and understanding. When we take the time to notice and interpret these actions, we not only build empathy, but also create opportunities for personal and relational growth. Understanding human gestures begins with paying attention. In a world where distractions are constant, being present is a revolutionary act. A smile can be a symbol of encouragement, a nod can signify agreement, and a touch on the arm can communicate comfort. Each of these gestures has the potential to deepen our understanding of others, yet their meanings often go unnoticed because we're too focused on what's happening next or caught up in our own thoughts. By slowing down and tuning in, we can unlock the deeper stories behind these actions, fostering empathy and connection. Empathy thrives on the recognition of humanity in others. When we observe someone's gestures with curiosity and compassion, we begin to see their emotions and experiences more clearly. A person crossing their arms may not just be cold, they might be feeling defensive or uncomfortable. Someone who avoids eye contact might be shy or carrying a burden they're hesitant to share. By interpreting these gestures with empathy rather than judgment, we open a door to understanding. This practice not only strengthens our relationships, but also enriches our own emotional intelligence, enabling us to navigate social dynamics with greater insight. Understanding gestures also teaches us about cultural and individual differences. Across cultures, gestures can vary significantly in meaning. For example, a thumbs up might be a sign of approval in one culture, but considered offensive in another. Recognizing and respecting these differences deepens our global perspective and helps us build bridges across diverse communities. On a personal level, every individual has their unique way of expressing themselves through gestures. Learning these personal nuances helps us connect more authentically with the people in our lives. Moreover, interpreting gestures accurately allows us to respond more thoughtfully. When we notice someone fidgeting nervously during a conversation, we might pause to ask if they're feeling okay. If we catch a fleeting smile, we can acknowledge it with warmth, reinforcing the positive energy. These small acts of attentiveness create. On a broader scale, understanding gestures helps us grow as individuals. It sharpens our ability to read emotional cues, enhancing our communication skills. It also challenges us to step outside of our assumptions and consider the perspectives of others. This process not only makes us more compassionate, but also human gestures are more than fleeting movements. They are the threads that weave us together. By noticing, interpreting, and responding to these gestures, we build empathy and foster growth, not just in our relationships, but within ourselves. In a world that often feels disconnected, understanding the language of gestures reminds us that connection is always within reach. In a world that often prioritizes words and actions with clear, tangible outcomes, we sometimes overlook the profound power of vulnerability, trust, and the subtleties of human connection. Through the exploration of these keynotes, we've uncovered the transformative potential of small, genuine gestures and the courage it takes to embrace trust, understanding, and authenticity. These are not just concepts, they are practices that shape the foundation of meaningful relationships and a fulfilled life. When we embrace vulnerability, we allow ourselves to be seen for who we truly are, creating the space for authentic connections to flourish. By recognizing the deeper meanings in genuine actions, we cultivate a deeper appreciation for the humanity in ourselves and others. Trust, though often challenging, serves as a powerful antidote to fear, dissolving the barriers that separate us and opening the door to deeper bonds. And finally, understanding human gestures sharpens our ability to empathize, bridging divides and fostering growth on both personal and communal levels. At the heart of all these principles lies a simple truth. Connection is what makes life rich and purposeful. It is found not in grand displays, but in the small, meaningful moments where we show up for one another, listen, and offer kindness. By paying attention, being present, and acting with intention, we can create a world that feels less disconnected and more compassionate. A world where vulnerability, trust, and empathy are not only valued, but celebrated. The journey toward deeper connection requires courage and effort, but it is through these acts that we rediscover the essence of our shared humanity. Let us embrace this challenge, understanding that in every gesture, in every moment of trust, and in every act of vulnerability, we are building bridges that lead to a life of greater meaning, love, and growth.